Hi, my name is Florence Gracie Miranya and I will tackle to you or discuss to you the GoLab simulation or what we call the virtual laboratory. Without further ado, let's start. First, I will discuss to you the name of this application, which is GoLab. The GoLab initiative arose from the successful GoLab projects 2012 to 2016 and gave the initiative its name. The aim of the GoLab initiative is to facilitate the use of innovative learning technologies in STEM education with a particular focus on online laboratories and inquiry learning applications. Using the GoLab ecosystem, teachers can find various labs and apps and create customized inquiry learning spaces. Furthermore, the GoLab initiative conducts training for the teachers on the topics of inquiry-based science education, development of the 21st century skills. The GoLab ecosystem is the free platform that can be used by any teacher from any country. In addition, GoLab premium tools and services are designed to meet the needs of educators and educational organizations such as ministries of education, teacher training institutes, schools, teachers, and online lab providers. Next is the builder of this virtual laboratory, which is the Concord Consortium, founded by Robert Frederick Tinker. The Concord Consortium is a non-profit educational technology laboratory for science, mathematics, and engineering based in Concord, Massachusetts. The Concord Consortium is made up of a diverse group of innovators who combine disciplinary knowledge, educational experience, and technological expertise in marvelous ways, all in the name of showing educational technologies' true potential to the world. The organization focuses on analytics and feedback, data science education, engineering and science, STEM models, and simulation, as well as offers digital technology and network devices. Concord Consortium serves communities in the United States. Robert Frederick Tinker was an American physicist, science educator, and education technologies innovator who pioneered constructivist approaches to education, particularly novel uses of educational technologies and science. Next is the subjects or topics can be used these applications. They have lots of subject or topics can be find this virtual laboratory, including astronomy, biology, chemistry, engineering, environmental education, geography and earth science, mathematics, physics, and technology. Lastly, the navigation for this virtual laboratory. First thing to do is go to this website. The provided link will direct you to a pollution simulator. The amount of cars, wind, temperature, car pollution, sunlight, and electric cars are customizable according to your preference with the use of sliders provided by the website. Lastly, press the play button for the video simulation to work. In this virtual laboratory, they describe what causes an area to have poor air quality. This model is to explore the connections between pollution sources, weather, geography, and air quality. Discover which weather conditions causes the development of additional air pollutants. Compare the effects of two different pollution sources, pollution control devices, and changing weather conditions on the air quality over a city. So what is air pollution? Air pollution is a mixture of solid particles and gases in the air, car emissions, chemicals from factories, dust, pollen, and mold spores may be suspended as particles. Ozone, a gas, is a major part of air pollution in cities. When ozone forms air pollution, it's called smog. Some air pollutants are poisonous. Air pollution is caused by solid and liquid particles and certain gases that are suspended in the air. These particles and gases can come from car and truck exhausts, factories, dust, pollen, mold spores, volcanoes, and wildfires. Next is the pollutants. Pollutants are the elements, molecules, and particles involved in pollution. Life can be harmed when exposed to these materials, and the effects of them on human and plants are well known. Pollutants can be introduced into the environment in many ways, both naturally and by humans. There are two types of pollutants, and they are primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. First, I will discuss to you the first type of pollutants, which is primary pollutants. What is primary pollutants? Primary pollutants are any type of pollutant directly into the environment. They differ from secondary pollutants because secondary pollutants must form in the atmosphere, whereas primary do not. Primary pollutants can be emitted from many sources including cars, coal-fired power plants, natural gas power plants, biomass, burning natural forest fires, volcanoes, and many more. Next type of pollutants is what we call secondary pollutants. Secondary pollutants are pollutants which form in the atmosphere. These pollutants are not emitted directly from a source like vehicles or power plants. Instead, they form as a result of the pollutants emitted from these sources reacting with molecules in the atmosphere. They have different types of pollutants include nitrogen oxide which is fuels and diesels, sulfur oxide or gas emitted in the fossil fuels, particulate matter or smoke, dust and liquid droplets, ground level ozone or highly irritating gas, volatile organic compounds or gases from the solid and liquids, and lastly, the mercury. Now, I'm done discussing to you what air pollution is. Next is how air pollution work by this virtual laboratory. Without further ado, let's start. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, electric cars, power plants, and power plant pollution are moderate with a low wind, temperature, sunlight, and rain, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website. Vehicles are a major contributor to primary pollutants emitting the majority carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide emissions. It is the leading contributor of many primary pollutants due to burning of gasoline and diesel, which produce many of these harmful pollutants. The industrial sector is also a major contributor. As you can see of the data visualization, primary pollutants increases because of the car population given by the car. As a result of this data, there will be a carbon monoxide that can affect to the human's body. Secondary pollutants are not emitted directly. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, and electric cars are maximized with a strong wind, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website, just as electric cars are helping to reduce pollution from passenger vehicles, electric trucks and bus could eliminate tailpipe pollution entirely and then increase the development of clean, renewable electricity and hydrogen. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, and electric cars are maximized with a moderate temperature, sunlight, and rain, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website. So, as a result, they have a electric vehicles or EVs. EVs can help your town and your world clean. In general, EVs produce fewer emissions that contribute to climate change and smog than conventional vehicles. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, electric cars, power plants, and power plant pollution are maximized with a strong wind, which can be done by the sliders provided by the website. As a result, they will have a acid rains. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, and electric cars are moderate with a low level of temperature, sunlight, and rain, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website, as a result of proper maintenance of car and truck emission, and they control systems doesn't just limit harmful emissions. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, and electric cars are low with a moderate temperature, sunlight, and rain, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website, it a result and auto emissions even more immediate public health concern. Plus, it has required the development of action plans to improve air quality. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, temperature, sunlight, wind, and rain are maximized, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website, they will be having a car pollution. As we all know, vehicles are a major pollution contributor producing significant amounts of nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, and other pollution. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, and rain are maximized with a moderate temperature and sunlight, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website, it will cause a acid rain. As we all know, acid rain is caused by a chemical reaction that begins when compounds like sulfur oxide and nitrogen oxide are released into the air. This substance can rise very high into the atmosphere, where they mix and react with water, oxygen, and other chemicals to form more acidic pollutants known as acid rain. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars and car pollution are moderate with a low wind temperature, sunlight, and rain, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website, they will have a increasing concentration of chemicals such as nitrogen and phosphorus that are dangerous to our health. If you want to know what happens if the volume of power plants, power plant pollution, temperature, sunlight, and rain maximize, you can swiping the sliders provided by the website. As a result, we will have a developing renewable energy is critical to addressing concerns about climate change and some environmental issues. If you want to know what happens if the volume of power plants and power plant pollution are maximized with the low level of temperature, sunlight, and rain, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website. As a result, they have a lots of power plants, and power plants use water for cooling up to billion gallons each day. As this water is discharged back to the river, thermal heat pollution occurs. They will have a pollution, not just a air pollution, but is a thermal pollution. If you want to know what happens if the volume of cars, car pollution, power plants, and power plant pollution are maximized with a moderate temperature, sunlight, and rain, which can be done by swiping the sliders provided by the website, it can cause a air pollution, can directly contaminate the surface of bodies of water and soil. This can kill crops and reduce their yield. It can kill young trees and other plants. Sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide particles in the air can create the acid rain when they mix with water and oxygen in the atmosphere.